Hi everybody, welcome to Daily Zohar and welcome to Tzfat. Today we're going to be studying a portion from Parshat Tisa, which speaks about raising up and taking a census of the nation of Israel, the Jewish people in the desert. There's a lot of ups and downs in the Parsha. Specifically, it also goes into the sin of the golden calf, amongst other ups and downs. But this portion, this piece from the Zohar is going to focus on the point of the census. So let's begin. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, and God spoke to Moses, saying, Ki tisa et rosh bnei Yisrael lifkudehem, when you shall count the head of the nation of Israel according to their census. Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Acha, Rabbi Yossi havu azli miteveria letzipori. Rabbi Abba, and Rabbi Acha, and Rabbi Yossi were traveling from Tiberias to the city of Tzipori. They were students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They were amongst what we call the Chevraya Kadisha, the Holy Assembly. And oftentimes they travel together, and they travel together in the holy union, and their words were words of Torah that they were speaking to each other. And the Zohar recounts many, many different stories of such travelings and meetings that occur, and different words of Torah that was brought down in different places. Adahavu azli, until they were traveling, while they were traveling, chamule Rabbi Elazar, they saw Rabbi Elazar, who is the son of Rabbi Shimon, the Hava'ati that was also traveling. Rabbi Chia Imei, and with him was Rabbi Chia, who was one of the prime students of Rabbi Shimon. Amar Rabbi Abba said, Vadai nishtatav bahadei shechinta, for certainly we should connect with the holy Shekhinah, with the holy divine presence, which is walking together with Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Chia. They were certainly speaking words of Torah, and they were certainly saying very, very deep ideas, and they wanted to join and bask in that knowledge. Orichu lehu adamatu legabayu, and they waited for them until they reached them. In other words, they saw them in the distance, and they waited for them until they arrived. Kevan damatu gabayu, while they reached them. Since they reached them, Amar Rabbi Elazar says, Vadai Ketiv, it says certainly in the verse in Psalms, Einei Hashem el tzadikim, that the eyes of God is to the righteous. Ve'oznav el shava'atam, and his ears is listening to their beckoning. Haikra kasha. This verse has a number of questions in it, which is found in a different portion of the Zohar. But over here, there's going to be a different interpretation. Ta chazi, come and see, says Rabbi Elazar. And the Zohar, when it says come and see, that's the form of teaching that the Zohar uses. It's a form of visual learning. It's a form of experiential learning, of actually seeing and actually experiencing the concept and internalizing it in a truly transformative and deep way. Tachazi al-Kumuah. We find in the Talmud, Leit birchata de le'ela sharia al mila deit mani. There is no blessing upon something which is counted, which is limited. And what the Zohar means, that blessings come from the side of chesed, come from the side of kindness, from the channel of kindness. And the channel of kindness can only flow down if there is no channel of strictness, which is actually holding back the flow of kindness to allow it to overflow. And if that was the case, how were the children of Israel counted in the census in the desert? Ela kufra natil minayah. Rather, they took a redemption for the soul, and this refers to what the portion over here in the Torah tells us, that each each person over the age of 20 gave a half a shekel, half of the currency of that time, which is called a shekel, and they gave half a shekel, and then it was known how many people were amongst the nation of Israel. And this was explained that they took this amount and they put it in boxes. And the accounting was not made, the census was not made until all of the money was collected by everybody. And then they started to do the accounting. And prior to that, prior to the actual accounting, there was the blessing which was accorded upon the nation of Israel, which stemmed from the place of chesed. Ulevatar manin hahu kufra, and after the counting of that half a shekel, ulevatar hadran mevarchin lon lisrael. After that accounting, there was once again the blessing which was given to the nation of Israel. Ishtakachu Yisrael mitbarchim bekadmita uvesofa. It is found that the nation of Israel was blessed before, and it was blessed afterwards. It was blessed before there was any sort of accounting which may bring about any sort of limitation to that blessing, which would stem from the side of Gevurah. And afterwards there was the blessing, after there was the complete accounting, and there wasn't the individual, and there wasn't the ability for Gevurah to be aroused and to really negate this sense of chesed of coming down upon the nation of Israel. And therefore there was no affliction, there was no sort of negativity which came about as a result. Motana, my salik b'minyana, and the question is that Rabbi Elazar asked, so why is death or plagues occur by counting? Ela begin devirchata lo sharia b'minyana, because blessing is not found when there is a counting. Kevan the salik birchata, once the blessing is given, sitra acha sharia le v'yachil and zaka. So then the other side is resides upon that number, and negativity could occur. Begin kach natil kufra ufidyana, and therefore they didn't count the nation of Israel, but they took this redemption that each person gave, lesalka ale b'minyan, in order to put them within the greater collective whole. V'alkmua ve'itmar, and this is what the rabbis teach us in the previous generations. So, what practical lesson that we can extract from the Zohar is that when we are part of a community, when we are part of a greater entity, then we are not individually really examined for all of our individual deeds, which may not align correctly with the way we should be behaving and the way we should be really in our greatest potential. But when we put ourselves within a community and we put ourselves within the greater good of everyone else, so then the blessing comes down to the on the collective level. It comes down on the collective level prior to us putting ourselves tangibly in that place, because our intentions is to be there, and it comes to us afterwards once we've put ourselves in that place. And more practically speaking, when we put ourselves also in a collective spirit, in a collective consciousness, and actually what we're doing over here with Daily Zohar and the other classes on live Kabbalah, is putting ourselves together as a community, as a spiritual community worldwide, and that has a tremendous amount of power. That has the power that it's able to repel all types of negativity and all types of death, right, on all levels, as the Torah tells us. So may we be able to place ourselves and align ourselves correctly within the greater good, within the greater community of everyone else, and may we only see blessings and only good things in all of our lives.